What's the best freeze-dried food brand out there on the market? I'm Andrew with SHTF Honey Badger, and we're going to be trying to answer that question today. Sitting in front of us are entrees from four of the biggest companies in the freeze-dried food industry, and we're going to be comparing them. When picking these out, I tried to get a similar entree from each of these companies to give us as close as possible comparisons. I've tried none of these particular flavors in advance, and I'll be surprised as you with how they turn out. Now, let's run through what we all have here in front of us today, and I do want to point out as well before we do that none of these companies sponsored this video, and I purchased each of these with my own money. The first meal we have here is the Readywise Adventure Meal in Teriyaki Chicken. This comes in at 2.5 servings for this container size. One serving is 250 calories and 12 grams of protein. If you eat the whole package, you're sitting at about 620 calories and 30 grams of protein. All of these meals, by the way, were purchased at Sierra Trading Post, and this one there came in at $4.79. The second meal we have here today is going to be the Mountain House Adventure Meal in Chicken Teriyaki, which is this guy right here. For one of these packages, it's going to be 2 servings. Each serving is 240 calories and 12 grams of protein, so that puts your whole package sitting at about 480 calories and 23 grams of protein. And this comes in at a cost of $7.99 for this meal. The third meal we're going to be comparing today is the Backpackers Pantry Sweet and Sour Rice and Chicken. The Backpackers Pantry comes in with 2 servings for this package. One serving's 340 calories and 19 grams of protein. That's going to put this whole package at 680 calories and 38 grams of protein for this meal, and it comes in at a cost of $8.99 per package. And the final option we have here is this Peak Refuel, and that's also going to be in Teriyaki Chicken. This Peak Refuel comes in with 2 servings a package. Each serving is sitting at 290 calories and 20 grams of protein, which is going to bring this up to a total of 580 calories and 40 grams of protein. This comes in a cost of $9.99 a meal. Now, out of all the meals in the comparison, they're cookable in the package, and they can be cooked just by adding boiling water in the amounts listed on the back of the package with the instructions. Now, I wanted to specifically pick out meals that were that way, as when you're in a survival situation or you're in even backpacking or camping, not having to cook stuff in a pot and then clean those pots afterwards is really going to be beneficial to you. So I would recommend as well, even if you don't end up deciding on any of these products we have here when you're looking at your freeze-dried food, make sure it's one that does come in cookable packages. Now that we're done going over these meals here, I'm going to ask you to do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe button down below. And we're going to be cooking these up here and be back with you in a few seconds and be going over the texture, quality, and taste on each of these products. And we're back, and we have our 4 entrees all cooked up in front of us here. So I do want to point out, we did follow the cooking times on each of them. So some of these took a little longer, like the Backpackers Pantry over here took 20 minutes. So this already had about 10 minutes on it cooking when we, for example, used the Mountain House over here or the Peak Food and filled these up, because these are both sitting at a 10-minute cook time. So these all have been cooked for the appropriate amount of times as well. Nothing's been overcooked or anything like that. So we're going to get started here, and starting with the Wise Food, we're going to dish these out, take a look, see how they look, and give some taste tests. So looks real appetizing here with that Wise Food. Get this out here and let you take a look. So good portion of that there for the Wise Food. So here is the Wise Food. I don't on this one for chicken teriyaki, got a little bit of vegetables here, some chicken chunks. They're all smaller for the chicken. Otherwise, this kind of reminds me more just rice with some chicken in it. Doesn't really have a good chicken teriyaki look to it. Let's get our next one out here, which is the Mountain House. And, I will say, kind of in general, the internet seems to have a love affair with the Mountain House if you're looking for freeze-dried food. So, I think maybe we'll see a little bit higher expectations on what this is going to be, because this is the one everybody seems to have a love affair with. Let's get the Mountain House out. And I got to admit, so far, the Mountain House definitely is looking a little better here. So if you look at the Mountain House, you have some different colors in there. Just looks like a lot more richer color palette. You also can actually see you have some carrots and some peas, like that in there. Looks like some tomatoes. So you actually have some color to it. This, to me, truthfully looks like something you'd heat up out of a microwave dinner. So we'll see how that goes. One thing I do want to point out too, I forgot to mention, the Wise food over here, there is really no taste to this. It's no smell to this. It got a little bit like almost a cinnamon of all things, but overall there's not a lot of things in this that really represents or makes me think of chicken teriyaki. Just looks bland versus at least the Mountain House right here. This smells like chicken teriyaki, and this to me looks like chicken teriyaki. The next one we have here is the Backpackers Pantry. This is our longest cook time, so I'm really curious to see if that long cook time is worth it. And the Backpackers Pantry here is a sweet and sour chicken. So they did not have a comparable chicken teriyaki version I could find. So that's what we went with here. And, texture-wise, this is a lot closer to the Mountain House. It's a little less of a soupy, saucy type consistency looking here. Looking at it, you do actually have some vegetables and some colors in here too. So, it's more on scale. It's not quite as vibrant or bright. But, you definitely can see you do have some vegetables mixed in, some tomato flakes and stuff. This doesn't smell a lot like sweet and sour chicken, though. So I'll give it that. You can smell it a little bit, but, versus something you're going to get out of a Chinese restaurant or even a TV dinner, it doesn't quite have that same kick and smell as the sweet and sour chicken you'd expect out of something like that. And our final one here is going to be the Peak Refuel. That Peak Refuel is kind of the new kid on the block. This is the most expensive option, and it's definitely, from what a lot of people seem to say, the best quality option. So let's see how it stacks up, and if this really is the best option you have on the market here for your freeze-dried food. And oh man, I gotta say right off the bat, this does not disappoint. Looking at this is something I would fully expect, at least looking at the colors and textures, to be served at a restaurant. And I will get that over here where you guys can see that in a second as well. And now just look at that. Look at that right here. I would fully, at least appearance-wise, wouldn't be shocked to see that at a restaurant. Your chicken looks like actual chicken that just got cooked on a grill, chopped up, or a stove chopped up, thrown in here. You have actual vegetables. So, you have literally carrots here. You can see they were chopped. These aren't little chunks. They aren't cubed up. It's actually chopped and put in here. And then you have the beautiful color too. And you even have like full-size green beans. So you have a little bit of green beans and stuff chopped up in here. And you can actually see the beans. It's not just some random color. So this as well looks like it kind of reconstituted well. I will say all of these, when cooked for that proper amount of time, do seem like they reconstituted well. I don't so far see any dry spots or anything that looks like it's still freeze-dried. So that's a plus. And with this one, this smells good. This smells exactly like chicken teriyaki rice I would expect to get at a Chinese restaurant. So let's start with our Wise food over here on the far right. And we are going to see how this tastes. And then we're just going to move down the line. Between each one, I'm going to rinse out my mouth, so I'm going to make sure I'm not contaminating. So, with the Readywise, and this consistency too, it's just so sticky. This reminds me more like an oatmeal consistency. This doesn't even have the consistency you would expect out of like, actual meal that you'd be eating that's rice and chicken. So, chicken in here didn't quite reconstitute fully. It's still chewy. Still doesn't taste moist with this. Yeah, even though this is one of the ones with the longer cook time, it just did not reconstitute. And these were stirred up properly. You can definitely see here, there's not any dry spots. It's just it just didn't reconstitute very well. You cannot really, it just doesn't taste quite right versus what you would expect out of this. It's definitely something that, at least as of this point, if you're starving, it's a lot better than starving. But, even without tasting others, I'm going to tell you this is probably not going to be my first pick. And now let's look at the Mountain House here. Like I said, this is kind of the one that I'd say most people compare as the bar to set for your freeze-dried food. So let's see how this looks. And that's good. That one is good. You can taste the chicken teriyaki in there. The chicken actually reconstituted fully, unlike the Readywise over here. You know, you can taste the vegetables. This pea, for example, tastes like an actual pea. Tastes like a fresh pea that you just had put in here. It's soft, it's chewy, there's no crunch to it, doesn't taste dry, it's juicy. Which for me, with freeze-dried food, that's impressive. You know, it's hard to beat when you have food like that. And again, on this one, I gotta admit, that color on this is just really good. You know, I'd definitely say this is in comparison, if not above, what you'd get for like a TV dinner. And, you know, if that's something you're eating when you're trying to survive, that's something I would not be arguing with. And our next one here is the Backpackers Pantry. And with this Backpackers Pantry, you know, this definitely to me looks like the, I would say overall the least saucy I've seen for some sort of sweet and sour type meal. So let's give it a shot, see what this tastes like. I mean, again, I will give this one credit. The color's definitely there, and it does actually have vegetable chunks. It's not minced meat vegetable wannabe like this. Overall, that's pretty good. I don't really feel like that matches the definition of sweet and sour. I personally wouldn't compare it to a sweet and sour rice and chicken. It just doesn't have that same sauce and consistency, but this does have a little bit of that sour. You do taste the sour a lot more than the sweet on this guy. And overall, you know, I'd definitely say it's something I would be willing to eat. You know, I would say a good comparison. This would be kind of like something you would get at a restaurant, but I feel like it's something you get at a restaurant from someone that didn't know how to make sweet and sour chicken very well, just because it doesn't really have that taste. But at the same time, I will say the vegetables in here taste good. The chicken reconstituted fully. The rice is good. There's nothing in this meal that to me tastes like it's dry or crunchy. So it is what I would want to see out of a freeze-dried meal. So keep that in mind. And now the last one is the Peak Refuel. And let's see how this guy looks. I mean, again, this is one that I'm just so impressed, you know, looking at like the vegetables and stuff. You know, this looks like it literally came out of, you know, a higher end restaurant, at least appearance-wise. So let's see if that taste matches it. Hands down, it's no debate here. This is definitely restaurant type quality. You know, if you're comparing it, this is definitely something that I would be happy eating. And I mean, truthfully, I could go eat this for lunch every day or dinner. It's that good. It's that level of normal food. It doesn't taste like a freeze-dried meal. This is reconstituted fully. The chicken tastes good. It tastes fresh. The vegetables taste good. Like your green beans, for example, cut up in this, they taste like green beans. Your carrots taste like carrots. And they don't taste like soggy, mushy carrots. They have the crunch you want in a carrot when you cook it up, but it's not like a lack of reconstituting crunch. It is a flat out like a nice crunchy carrot that, you know, at least for me personally, I like in my food. I don't want it to taste like mush. I want it to still have a little bit of crunch like a carrot. And they did a great job with this. This is just, you know, honestly really impressive. You know, I can't even argue with that. And, you know, looking here, and I do realize a little bit I forgot to take a drink between some of these, but, you know, I will still say my opinion still stands on these. I don't think there is that type of a contamination between trying them all. And I'd fully say, depending on your preferences, these three, any of these three would probably be good. I'd avoid the Readywise. And I'll be honest, I've had other stuff from Readywise, and it's not necessarily always this bad. I would personally say this is the second worst thing I've ever had from Readywise, and I've had stuff from them I actually enjoy. So, you know, that's one thing I do want to point out. I don't think overall they're bad, but I think they rely a lot more on people buying products and not actually eating it, which you do see with a lot of these freeze-dried food companies, especially the ones marketed towards survivalists and preppers. Versus, for example, you have like House Backpackers Pantry and Peak Refuel over here, where these aren't solely marketed towards a prepper or survivalist. A lot more of these are marketed towards hikers, backpackers, campers, hunters, people that are going to be going out there in the field and actually using this stuff on a regular basis. So personally, I would get your hands on these three and kind of take your own comparison between them. If you want that highest quality restaurant type feel, the Peak Refuel, hands down, this is going to be your winner. And like I said, if you're at like Sierra Trading Post, these come in at about $10 a bag versus the Mountain House, which for the chicken teriyaki, I would say this is a close second. Comes in at about $8 a bag, so not a huge cost difference. And even nutrition-wise, this one has a bit more for protein and calories, but relatively they're in the same category. So I'd get out, I'd give them a shot yourself, but personally, I would say if you're looking at appearance, taste, texture, and overall quality for your meal, the Peak Refuel is going to win hands down. Now, at the same time, if you want something a little bit more affordable that maybe you want to stack a little bit more up aside, but you still want some good quality, I would still have no problem with this Mountain House over here because it is just as good, honestly, as, like I said, like a TV dinner or even some cheaper restaurants out there that serve this type of meal. So, personally, hands down, this is my first pick. This would be my second pick. The sweet and sour, again, this isn't bad, but I don't think they did a very good job with their sauce. So it's something I would try at your own risk if you really like sweet and sour, because this does not taste like sweet and sour chicken. It just tastes like a kind of a sour tasting chicken. And the Readywise, again, I would avoid that completely. If I'm trying to feed kids or other family members, I don't even see them touching this. I see most of the people I know, especially people with kids, their kid's going to try one taste of this and say it's disgusting, and they're going to sit there at their feet in the ground starving to death before they'll eat this crap. So between all of these, definitely check out Peak Refuel and check out Mountain House. These are going to be your two best bets out of what we've taste tested today. You guys have any differences of opinions? If you've had your own experiences, definitely feel free. Share those down in the comments below. Or if you have other stuff you want to see us try out, you have other foods you want to see us compare that we didn't have on the table today, just drop it down in the comments below and we'd be happy to accommodate and do some different tests with some different entrees or different brands that we don't have here. Thanks for tuning in, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.